Once upon a time, in a sleepy seaside village, there lived an old man named Leo. Leo was a familiar sight to everyone in town, always seen wearing a heavy woolen coat and his wide-brimmed hat, a red lantern in one hand, and a battered notebook tucked under his arm. Every evening, without fail, Leo would make his way down the cobbled streets to the shore, just as the sun was beginning to sink below the horizon. He would settle on a particular rock near the water's edge, light the red lantern, and stare out at the sea, waiting for something, or someone. The villagers often whispered about Leo, though they rarely disturbed him. To the children, he was a figure of mystery. To the adults, a symbol of something heartbreakingly beautiful, but achingly sad. Many of them had grown up seeing Leo down at the shore, waiting year after year. Some said he was mad, while others said he was simply lost in an old memory. But only the oldest among them knew the real story. One quiet evening, a curious young girl named Ella found her way down to the shore. Ella was new to the village, having recently moved there with her family. She had heard about the strange old man who sat by the sea each evening, and her curiosity got the better of her. She made her way down to the shore, her small footsteps crunching on the pebbles. As she got closer, she saw Leo hunched over on his rock, the red lantern casting a soft glow around him, while the waves rolled gently in the background. Summoning her courage, Ella walked up to him and softly asked, "Mr. Leo, why do you sit here every night?" Leo looked up, surprised to see a little girl standing beside him. His eyes were warm but clouded with a sadness that ran deep. After a moment, he gestured for her to sit beside him. "I'm waiting for someone very dear to me," he said, his voice gentle. "My wife, Lila. Many years ago, she sailed away on a voyage to bring medicine back for our village. There was an outbreak of illness back then, and Lila wanted to help, but her ship never returned." Ella's face fell, and her wide eyes grew solemn. "But how do you know she'll come back?" Leo smiled, looking out at the horizon where the last rays of sunlight were melting into the waves. "Because she promised," he replied, "and I promised I'd be here, waiting with our lantern, so she'd see it and know she was home." The weight of his words settled over Ella, and for the first time, she saw him not as a strange old man, but as someone whose heart had been broken in a way she could scarcely understand. From that night on, Ella began joining Leo at the shore. Each evening, she would bring her own little lantern, sitting beside him as they watched the sun dip below the horizon. Leo began to tell her stories of Lila, how they had met on a spring morning in the village square, how she had once won a dance competition that left everyone clapping for an encore, how she could make even the stormiest day seem bright. Years passed, and every season brought its own beauty to their quiet corner of the shore. In summer, wildflowers bloomed along the coastline, and the air was warm and salty. In autumn, the sunsets were fiery orange, and the waves grew choppier, crashing against the rocks with vigor. And in winter, when snow dusted the shore, Ella and Leo would wrap themselves in extra blankets as they waited under the stars. As Ella grew older, she noticed that Leo was changing. His once strong hands began to tremble, his walks to the shore grew slower, and sometimes his voice, once rich and clear, faltered as he spoke. She knew he was growing older, but still, he never missed a single night by the sea. Then, one winter night, a terrible storm hit the village. The wind howled, and waves crashed against the shore with a fury Ella had never seen. Her parents wouldn't let her leave the house, and she spent the evening peering out the window, worrying for her friend. The next morning, when the storm had passed, Ella rushed down to the shore, her heart pounding with dread. She found Leo's lantern lying on the rocks, the glass cracked and its red glow extinguished. But Leo was nowhere to be seen. With a heavy heart, Ella picked up the lantern and brought it home. She couldn't bear to leave it there, abandoned. Later that evening, as she sat at her kitchen table with the lantern beside her, she noticed Leo's old notebook that she had never dared to open. On impulse, she opened it, and as she read through the entries, her heart grew heavier with every page. The notebook was filled with letters, hundreds of them, each one addressed to Lila. He wrote about everything: the colors of the sunsets, the sounds of the waves, his friendship with Ella, and his unwavering hope that one day she would return. But on the very last page, written in unsteady, shaky handwriting, she found the final entry. It read, "My dearest Lila, I think I always knew, deep down, that you wouldn't be coming back. I kept my promise. I waited. I kept the lantern lit every night, so you'd see it from wherever you were. But maybe it's time I find my own way to you." Tears blurred Ella's vision as she realized the depth of Leo's love and his quiet acceptance of a truth he had known all along. He hadn't been waiting because he thought she'd return. He'd been waiting because he couldn't let go. From that night on, Ella took Leo's place by the shore. She lit the red lantern and sat on the rocks, watching the horizon, not for herself but to keep his memory alive. And every so often, on especially quiet nights, the villagers would see a faint, flickering light out on the waves, far beyond the shore. Two souls, reunited at last, drifting together across the endless moonlit sea. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Serena, and I share enchanting short stories and discuss topics that invite you to ponder the intricacies of human nature and reality. If you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Hope to see you next time.